Big run by some of those cars in the back and around into the field.
I got a big push from the 16. If you're not the guy on the bottom, somebody else behind you is going to jam it in there.
Kyle Busch continues to take hits, this time during Sunday's Great American Getaway 400 at Pocono Raceway. On the lap 120 restart, Busch was caught by Corey LaJoie entering turn 1. Busch stopped LaJoie from the bottom, prompting retaliation. Busch's Nun-8 Chevrolet raced up the track, taking out many cars. And after the race, Busch showed us a surprising side of himself. Following the crash, LaJoie and his colleagues showed no remorse. He hooked himself, someone said over LaJoie's radio. F him, another team member said. We ain't worried about him, we're worried about ourselves. Busch had a miserable weekend at Pocono Raceway from the time he arrived. First, there were steering troubles during Saturday's practice session. Then, just before the race started, his car began leaking oil on pit road. His team had to fix the problem in the garage. Thus, he began the race from the back of the pack. Busch finished P32, marking his 5th DNF in the past 7 races. The 2-time Cup Series champion's winless skid now stands at 42, the longest of his career. Kyle Busch tried to keep his views under wraps after the accident at Pocono Raceway. It looked that Corey LaJoie's touch from behind forced Busch to lose control entering a corner, with his car temporarily drifting into the infield grass before spinning back up onto the track into a pile of cars. However, in an interview immediately outside the infield care center after he was checked out and released, he did not use the chance to vent his fury. Nah, I just want to thank all of our partners and everybody that's been behind our program at RCR, ECR Engines, obviously Zone Nicotine Pouches and Cheddar's Lucas Oil, everybody for their support and continuing to back us and be behind us, and of course the fans and Rowdy Nation as well, too, according to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch declined to discuss anything with LaJoie after the race. Nah, he said simply. And this showed character from Busch as LaJoie and his team never issued any apology for the incident. Typically, a driver and team would apologize for creating such a large accident. However, Corey LaJoie and his team were not so sorry. In fact, some believe Kyle Busch received what he deserved. He hooked himself, someone said on LaJoie's radio, according to Toby Christie. F him, another team member said. We ain't worried about him, we're worried about ourselves. Crew Chief Ryan Sparks stated that Busch got what he deserved. This 8 team has yet to find rock bottom. They are unable to accomplish much at this time. Just show up the next week and hope everything works out. Following the race, the media questioned Corey LaJoie. He described his own experience with the situation. I got a big push from the 16. When you're 20th back there, it's in the hornet's nest and you're 7 wide into turn 1, LaJoie explained via front stretch. If you're not the guy on the bottom, somebody else behind you is going to jam it in there and put you freaking middle, right? So, I had a bit of a run. The 16 gave me a big shot. I got to the left rear of the 8 and he blocked it once and I just kind of held the wheel straight and I was almost anticipating our bumpers kind of lining up and giving him a little bit of a shove, but when he blocked the second time, it just turned him across my nose. I hate that I tore up some good cars. Corey linked the Busch collision to one from earlier this season. The 7 car collided with Jimmy Johnson's 84 car in Kansas. That was a strange crash as well. Corey LaJoie was then questioned about the emotion on the radio. His team didn't mince words regarding Busch. In fact, they blamed Busch for the incident over the radio. LaJoie maintained his composure for the most part. However, the Spire Motorsports driver let things slide a touch at the finish. LaJoie definitely does not feel responsible for the accident. He dislikes the fact that it ruined other cars. But he won't be apologizing to the 8 team, I don't believe. I mean, it's a very emotional sport because you pour your heart and soul each and every week and you live and die by the results next to your name whether you like it or not, the driver said. That's just how you're defined, and that's how you're ranked. It's a competitive-based business. The 7 team hasn't had a great year, the 8 team hasn't had a great year, so anytime the day doesn't finish how you want to, you're going to be frustrated, and I understand. I'm sure he's mad. I'm sure there were guys that got caught up that was made, but I didn't feel like it was a bonehead move. I had a run. I got to the left rear, he blocked it twice, and the second time it spun his ass out. Who was at fault here? Could Busch have prevented it, or LaJoie? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. In the end, Corey LaJoie went on to finish P19. It's his second top 20 performance in the past 3 outings. If this crew can return any positives to the shop, they will. This has been a long season. Rodney Childers will join the 7 team in 2025. That might provide them with all they need to move forward. On the other hand, Kyle Busch and the number 8 Richard Childress racing crew continue to suffer setbacks. You cannot make this stuff up. While on the grid for the race, Busch's car even started to leak oil. Kyle Busch began practice on Saturday with a steering issue. Then his team rectified it. However, his crew was unable to increase the car's speed. There are some further concerns. It's not good, whether you call it bad luck, poor preparedness, or gremlins. Busch's car was discovered leaking oil on the grid and had to be returned to the garage for repairs. The car's whole underbody needed to be removed. Kyle Busch vented his emotions to Parker Kligerman during the NBC Sports broadcast. "Yeah, no question, definitely," Busch said about his struggles this season. "I don't think you can hem and haw or dance around that answer of that question because it is frustrating. But, there's a process here. And there's a big circle of success that's happened in this sport. There's guys at the top, then guys at the bottom. They circle back around to the top. I was at the top for a long, long time and felt really, really good to be there. So, now just in a different realm and trying to figure out how to climb that. It's way easier to fall than it is to crawl back up. So, we'll just keep figuring out what those ways are." Kyle Busch and his crew continue to receive awful news. When there are this many concerns in a season, someone has to speak with the man in charge. Richard Childress was asked about the problems, notably the oil spill, and he was candid about the grim situation. "It didn't leak yesterday. It didn't leak this morning," Childress said. "Pulled it on the line and one of the guys seen a little leak under it. Here's the little crack. It's kind of spongy all the way through here. Don't know if it's the faulty line or what. But you can see right there where the crack come through. We're in the middle of it right now, but these cars, you have to drop everything from out under them. All the under panel and everything. It's gonna be close, but we're gonna make it. We gotta start in the rear, so we gotta change a lot of strategy that we worked out this morning. So now you just go from there, and I'm sure with all our guys, we'll figure it out." Had a lot of other teams give us a hand, some of the Hendrick guys and Trackhouse, and we all jumped in there and got it on the line. Those Hendrick and Trackhouse crew members were really generous to assist a team in need. The garage is a close-knit community, and this is an excellent illustration of that. But it's worrying for Kyle Busch that stuff keeps breaking. Makes you wonder if he'll even get another shot at playoffs this season, as more often than not, he isn't even making the finish line. What do you think? Will Busch still be able to clinch a playoff spot, or is it over for him this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.